Okay, so we've already looked at while loops. While loops are used when you don't know how many times a thing is going to take place. You may also want to do a for loop, so that's doing something over and over again. But a for loop is used when you know how many times you want something to take place. The classic example is when you're doing a countdown. So for example, if you want to do a countdown or a count up from 0 to 100, what we would do is we would do a for x, so that's a value, but that value could be anything. We can actually call it for count. For count in range. And when we open the bracket, it actually gives us our hints. It says the start value. So what number do you want to start at? So I want to start at 0. And I want to stop at 101. And I believe what that's going to do is it's going to actually do 0 to 100, because 101 is where it stops. And then the step value is how far I want to jump up each time. So I might say I want to jump up in tens, or I might want to jump up in ones. So for count in range, 0 to 101, let's jump up by ones. And then colon. Then here we're just going to print the counter. Yeah, the count. So what this is going to do is going to count from 0 to 100. Each time it's going to print the value of count. So I think it's just going to print 0 up to 100. Let's run it. So you've got what is your name? Mr. Lau. And then here you see it goes 0 all the way to 100, and it doesn't actually go to 101. So that's how you do a count. Now there are several modifications you might want to do to that. So say for example you want to start from 100 and count down to 0. Or in this case count down to 1. The step value in this case would be -1 because you're going backwards. If we run this, you'll see now it runs from 100 down to 1. Notice that I put my stop value as 0, so that's why it stops at 1. Let's just go back to this example and make it a bit more meaningful though. We might want to say that we're loading and it's loading a certain percentage. So this game is say 10% loaded or 100% loaded. So let's just change the step value to 10 and we'll stop at 100. So let's print the quiz is loading. And then underneath that we might want to print a percentage sign. So we're going to print the count and then comma and then the percent complete ... So this is what's going to happen. It's going to print the quiz is loading, and it's going to print the first time round it's going to print 0, 0% complete. It's going to loop back round, add 10 to it, let's go 10%, 20%, 30%, up until it gets to 100%. So let's run this. So notice that it says 0% complete, 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50. One final modification you may want to add is you may want to add a pause in between. So if you want to add a pause, you would use the time module. So we would need to import that because it's an external module. So we're going to do import time. And then underneath here, each time it does this, we're going to do a time.sleep. So the sleep is a function. It asks for how many seconds, and we can say 0.5 seconds. So what this is going to do is going to use the time module, and it's going to do the sleep function for 0.5 seconds. So let's have a run of this now. And this way the user will actually get to see this quiz loading. What is your name? Mr. Lau. The quiz is loading. So you can see now it ticks along. Now personally, I don't really like the quiz is loading bit repeated. So I might put this outside the loop. These are just small modifications and keep that inside. So if I run this again, I think this will look a bit better because we'll just see percentage signs underneath each other. So I think this is much better. There's a half-second delay between each one, And we can also add these delays elsewhere within our quiz. We don't need to keep importing the time. All we need to do is just add time.sleep whenever we want to pause. So if in between each question we want to pause, just do time.sleep 1 second, or however many seconds you want. And that's it. That's how you would do a for loop, and also how you would do an external module, such as time, and wait for half a second.